Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Alison Beere of AlisonBeere.com, where I help adult beginners learn to draw their own cartoon characters and come up with daily sketches. Today's video is inspired by a question on a previous video using this same image, and the question was, why is it that this nose on the left-hand side has a line straight through it, whereas this nose on the right-hand side, the outline goes around the outside of the nose with no line through it? And if you look carefully at that, you might come up with the answer yourself. The answer in one word is perspective. So for the man on the left, his face is turned slightly away from us, and so we can see his closest cheek obscuring part of the base of his nose. Whereas for the man on the right, his face is turned towards us, so we can see his nose and his cheek doesn't get in the way at all. Let's dive in and take a look at how you can use this as you draw noses all the time. We're going to take a look at a very simple face and rotate it gradually and see the effect of perspective on it, specifically on the nose and what obscures the nose or doesn't obscure the nose. So looking at number one, that's our simple face. The grey crosshairs show the center of the face, which is where the nose sits vertically, and the horizontal crosshair line shows the eye line, which is generally about halfway between the top of the head and the point of the chin. As we go to number two, you'll see that our nose begins to point to the right because the head is rotating to the right. The one eye looks slightly closer to the nose, that's a result of perspective, the other eye a little further away, and the ear starts to kind of move within the side of the head on this side. Moving to number three, the nose is starting to protrude and get even closer to the edge of the face, the cheek, as it were. The eyes are kind of like that. The ear is still moving within the head circle. And then we get to number four, and now we're getting really close to the edge. You can see that that grey line is very close to the edge there. So I am going to put the nose just pointing out like that. And then what I actually have to do is erase to show that actually the cheek is not quite obscuring the nose yet, but the nose is starting to protrude beyond the edge of the face. Now we get to number five, and number five is where we get to the point where we kind of started with this video, where we can just see the one eye. We can't see the other eye really. The edge of the cheek is obscuring part of the nose, so we've got that outline through the nose, and the ear is pretty much in the middle of the head here. By the time we get to number six, we can't see any eyes or any nose. We would see the ears if we kind of put them on the edges, but we would see the back of the head. So assuming the person had hair, this is what it would look like. So this is what happens with perspective as you rotate the head to the right. Obviously, a similar thing would happen in reverse if you rotated the head to the left. So let's go and have a look at our original diagram, stroke cartoon. And you can see with our man on the left, sure enough, we can only see one eyeball. And we can see his cheek obscuring this part of his nose and then his nose extending beyond the edge of his face. Whereas for our man on the right, we can see both of his eyes and we can see the whole of his nose with no cheek obscuring. But the interesting thing, look how his forehead and his nose is obscuring part of the further eye. And so you can see that it's effect of perspective on both the nose and the eyes, because sometimes we can see both eyes, sometimes we can only see one, sometimes the cheek is in front of the nose, sometimes the nose is in front of the further eye, and it's just a matter of what you can see. As you know, noses can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, so here I've used a really big nose just for illustration purposes, and I've used it in a different color so we don't obscure our thinking with getting the edge of the face and the nose mixed up. And you can see here we have it. Whichever way you point the nose, whether it's left or right, up or down, the head follows basically, and you create the impression of the whole head turning and us being able to see your character from a different perspective. Sometimes the nose will obscure other parts of the face, sometimes parts of the face will obscure the nose, and it just depends what angle you're looking at from. Did you like this video? If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to my channel there. And if you would like even more information and tips that I only share on email, head over to my website, alisonbeere.com, and sign up there for email updates. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.